Have you observed your adult children wrapping up phone calls hastily, frequently delaying visits, or appearing uneasy in your presence? Imagine if I revealed that some of the phrases you casually use are quietly undermining your relationship with them. Words that may seem harmless to you, but strike them like emotional daggers. It's truly devastating to think that you could be unintentionally driving your children away. In this video, I will uncover the 6 harmful phrases that elderly parents often use without realizing the impact they have on their relationships with adult children. You'll also learn the precise alternatives to use in order to mend and strengthen your connection before it's too late. Meet Beverly, a vibrant 68-year-old mother of 3 hailing from Denver. For years, her home was the heart of family gatherings, celebrating holidays, birthdays, and weekend barbecues. But in recent times, a shift occurred. Her children began to reach out less often. Whenever they came around, they would always leave early, offering up vague excuses about their packed schedules. Beverly found herself at a loss, struggling to grasp the unfolding situation. She reached out every week, sent meaningful gifts, and consistently expressed how much she longed for their presence. However, the gap continued to expand. After enduring months of heartbreak and confusion, Beverly's neighbor, a retired family therapist, finally unveiled the painful truth. Some of the phrases Beverly frequently used, words she believed conveyed her love and concern, were, in reality, pushing her children further away. As soon as she shifted her communication style, the bond with her children started to mend. Are you curious about the valuable lessons Beverly discovered before it's too late for your family as well? Discover the 6 phrases that could be quietly undermining your relationship with your adult children. First place. After all I've done for you. Ubi. When was the last time you shared your sacrifices with your children, hoping it would foster appreciation, only to find them growing more distant instead? Have you observed the shift in their expressions when you mention everything you've done for them throughout the years? Researchers at Cornell University have pinpointed guilt-inducing statements as the leading relationship toxin affecting the dynamic between elderly parents and their adult children. Ducey. Sarah Coleman, the leading expert on intergenerational family dynamics, highlights that when parents consistently bring up their past sacrifices, it fosters a sense of debt rather than nurturing a loving bond. As adult children grapple with the weight of their perceived debts, they often come to believe that no action can truly repay what they owe. This overwhelming sense of inadequacy can drive them to distance themselves from the very source of their guilt, their parent. Meet Walter, a 74-year-old retired postal worker hailing from the vibrant city of Chicago. Whenever his adult sons came to visit, he would seamlessly weave into the conversation reminders of his tireless efforts, how he juggled 2 jobs to fund their college education, how he forewent vacations to secure their futures, and how he set aside his own dreams for their success. He was puzzled by the fact that his sons' visits had grown shorter and less frequent. Walter explained that he simply wanted them to recognize and value his efforts on their behalf. What he failed to see was that every reference to his sacrifices wasn't cultivating appreciation. It was cultivating bitterness. His sons weren't steering clear of him out of indifference. They were sidestepping the feelings of inadequacy and indebtedness that washed over them whenever he was around. Take action right away. Swap out guilt-laden remarks for heartfelt recognition of the wonderful individuals your children have become today. Rather than expressing disappointment with, "After everything I've done for you, you can't even call me once a week," consider saying, "I'm so proud of the person you've become. It's always a pleasure to hear about your life during our conversations." This nuanced transition transforms the relationship from one rooted in debt to one founded on connection. Let go of tallying past sacrifices. These were gifts, not loans that needed to be paid back. Begin recognizing your adult child as the individual they have become, rather than merely a continuation of your parenting journey. Implement this adjustment in your upcoming conversation and observe how swiftly the dynamic transforms. When can I expect to see you more often? Are you constantly wondering when your children will come to visit, thinking it might inspire them, only to find they drift even further away? Are your messages and calls frequently filled with phrases like, "It's been ages since you visited," or "I haven't seen you in months"? Top family therapists have found that pressure-driven requests trigger what is known as the obligation avoidance response in adult children. According to Dr. James Peterson of the American Association of Family Therapy, when parents consistently voice their discontent regarding the number of visits or calls, they inadvertently instill feelings of anxiety and avoidance in their adult children. Every interaction fosters a sense of inadequacy instead of fostering connection, resulting in deeper withdrawal. Meet Judith, a vibrant 71-year-old widow hailing from Seattle. She found it perplexing that her son, residing a mere 30 minutes away, was making fewer visits than ever before. She explained that her desire to see him more led her to keep asking when he would come by next. Judith was unaware that her relentless inquiries about visits had turned her home from a sanctuary of comfort into a wellspring of pressure. Her son started to screen her calls and craft excuses to dodge visits, not out of a lack of love, but because every encounter had shifted from a source of joy to a weighty obligation. Her son later confessed that every conversation left him feeling as though he was letting her down. Transform your approach by substituting pressure with an invitation and honoring boundaries. How about we talk about when you'll be able to visit me more often? I'd be thrilled to catch up whenever your schedule permits. What strategies could be effective for you in the upcoming weeks? This method respects your child's independence and active lifestyle, all while conveying your wish to stay connected. Create a sanctuary at home where your adult children can visit freely, feeling comfortable and unburdened. Concentrate on ensuring that the moments you share are filled with positivity instead of guilt. Make this change in your communication effective immediately. Don't wait until next week or next month, as delaying could lead to further deterioration of your relationship. A single phrase holds the power to irreparably damage your bond with your adult children, particularly when it touches on their parenting, career, or lifestyle decisions. When you express to your adult children, "That's not how I would do it," you're not merely sharing your perspective, you're undermining their identity and capabilities as independent adults. Research conducted by Harvard University's Family Research Center indicates that unsolicited criticism triggers profound protective instincts in adult children. Dr. Elizabeth Monroe highlights that when parents critique the choices of their adult children, especially in the realm of parenting, it activates a fundamental instinct: the desire to safeguard their independence and capability. One of the most prevalent strategies for safeguarding oneself is to establish distance from the source of criticism. This sheds light on why critical parents tend to have less frequent interactions with their children and grandchildren. Meet Henry, a vibrant 76-year-old grandfather hailing from Portland. During his visits to his daughter's family, he always found himself highlighting the differences between her parenting style and his own. He would assert that those kids require more discipline. Otherwise, such behavior would never have been tolerated. He shared these insights with the intention of being helpful, drawing from his wisdom and experience. Instead, his daughter started to restrict his access to the grandchildren. Following a series of charged conversations, she ultimately informed him that visits would be paused until he could honor her parenting decisions. Henry felt utterly crushed. He found himself estranged from his grandchildren, bewildered by how his well-intentioned advice had led to such a rift. Discover the essential steps to avoid this devastating error that could tear your family apart. Ensure validation is in place before providing any input. transform criticism into a foundation of respect and a spirit of curiosity. Rather than saying, "That's not how I would do it," consider saying, "I see you're handling this differently than I might have, and I respect your approach. Can you clarify your thought process for me?" This statement recognizes their control over their own life, fostering an environment for valuable dialogue instead of criticism. Keep in mind that your adult children were raised in a unique environment, facing distinct challenges along the way. Their circumstances might not align with your solutions. Before sharing any advice, take a moment to consider, was my opinion actually sought? When in doubt, validation often outweighs criticism. Make this change today to protect your family bonds from the lasting impact of critical comments. Fourth on the list. What's holding you back from calling or visiting more frequently? Are you constantly wondering why your children don't reach out or come by more often, believing that expressing this will encourage them to do so, only to discover it drives them even further away? Have you observed how these questions frequently result in uncomfortable pauses or a shift in conversation? Experts in family dynamics have pinpointed accusatory questions as significant threats to the harmony between elderly parents and their adult children. Dr. Robert Williams explains that questions starting with "Why don't you?" often imply an accusation of failure. Adult children find themselves in a defensive stance, where every response seems insufficient. This dynamic fosters a cycle of guilt, resentment, and avoidance that can linger for years if left unaddressed. Meet Dorothy, a vibrant 70-year-old mother hailing from Atlanta. She was puzzled by the fact that her weekly calls with her daughter had grown shorter and less frequent. Dorothy explained that she simply wanted to understand, which is why she kept asking why she didn't receive more calls. What appeared to be a simple inquiry from Dorothy was perceived as a relentless accusation by her daughter. Every call started with some variation of, "Why haven't I heard from you?" turning our conversations into interrogations instead of genuine connections. Her daughter started to dread the calls, ultimately choosing to let them roll into voicemail. The connection faded to sporadic text exchanges until a family friend guided Dorothy in, grasping how her inquiries were perceived. Make this change right away. Prioritize excellence and foster constructive interactions instead of casting blame. Rather than saying, "Why don't you call more often?" consider expressing, "I always enjoy our conversations. What's been happening in your life lately?" This method fosters an inviting environment for genuine connection, instead of mere obligation. Engage with your children in a way that makes every conversation enjoyable and uplifting, encouraging them to reach out not out of obligation, but for the sheer joy of connecting with you. Eliminate all variations of "Why don't you?" from your language beginning today. These seemingly harmless questions can be toxic to your relationship, gradually undermining your bond with your adult children if you persist in asking them. "I feel like I've been forgotten by everyone." Expressions of self-pity may appear to draw sympathy and attention, yet they are quietly undermining your relationship with your adult children. Expressions such as "No one cares about me anymore" or "I guess I'll just be alone then" don't encourage connection. Instead, they generate an uncomfortable emotional burden. Research, featured in the Journal of Family Psychology, reveals that emotional manipulation, even if not deliberate, fosters distance instead of intimacy. Dr. Timothy Foster, an expert in geriatric psychology, highlights that framing elderly parents as victims sets up an untenable scenario for their adult children. Their inability to offer sufficient attention to counter the assertion fosters a sense of helplessness, ultimately resulting in emotional withdrawal as a means of self-protection. Meet Chester, a 73-year-old widower residing in sunny Miami. When his adult children were unable to visit for a holiday because of work or their own family commitments, Chester would reply with remarks such as, "I understand. I'll just be here alone like always. Or, no one has time for old dad anymore. He believed these remarks would help his children understand just how much he relied on them. Gradually, their calls became less frequent, as they sensed that no matter their efforts, it always fell short. Every conversation was heavy with guilt and feelings of inadequacy, leading his children to completely shy away from making calls. His daughter later clarified that it wasn't a lack of concern on our part. Rather, it was the realization that no matter our efforts, we could never truly make him feel cared for. Discover the immediate way to shift this pattern by articulating your specific needs in a positive light, rather than resorting to general complaints. Transform phrases such as, "No one cares about me anymore," into clear, positive requests. For instance, you might say, "I would really appreciate a phone call this weekend if you have time," or "I'd love to have Sunday dinner together next month if that could fit into your schedule." When your children reach out, prioritize creating a positive interaction instead of punishing them for previous absences. End the emotional manipulation strategies now, regardless of how justified they may appear to you. Your adult children are not the key to your happiness, and placing that burden on them will only push them further away. Make this adjustment in your next interaction to experience an instant transformation in your relationship. 6. Your brother and sister would never act this way. Have you ever found yourself comparing your children to their siblings, believing it could inspire them, only to see them distance themselves even further? Have you observed the swift shift in their expression when you brought up how their sibling might approach the situation differently? Experts in family therapy from the American Psychological Association assert that comparison statements can inflict lasting harm on the relationships between parents and their adult children, more so than nearly any other factor. Dr. Nancy Harris, an expert in sibling dynamics, highlights that comparative statements made between adult siblings can reignite old childhood rivalries, leading to feelings of resentment not only towards parents, but frequently towards each other as well. Continued comparisons can undermine family harmony for years to come. Meet Alice, a vibrant 69-year-old mother of 3 hailing from Philadelphia. Whenever her youngest son was unable to assist with a household chore or missed a family event, she would always bring up how her older son would readily drop everything to be present or never declines when she requires assistance. She truly believed that these comparisons would inspire her younger son to pay more attention. He started to steer clear of family gatherings altogether, particularly those where his brother would be present. The comparisons not only strained her bond with her younger son, but also sparked tension between the brothers that had been absent since their childhood. An effort to foster greater awareness ultimately shattered the family dynamic. Discover the essential adjustment you must implement. Recognize and honor the unique qualities of every child. Highlight the distinct qualities of each individual, celebrating their unique contributions. Rather than saying, "Your sister would never miss my birthday," consider expressing, "I understand you have other commitments, and I appreciate how you show care in your own way." It's essential to avoid comparing one child to another, regardless of how apparent the differences may appear to you. Every comparison sows the seeds of resentment, cultivating lasting emotional barriers. Cease any comparisons you've been making right now, and take a moment to reflect on the importance of offering an apology for those past judgments. Healing starts when you acknowledge and honor the individuality of each adult child, embracing their distinct lives, situations, and expressions of love. You've uncovered the 6 harmful phrases that may be quietly undermining your relationship with your adult children, along with the perfect alternatives to use instead. Transform your family dynamics today by swapping guilt tactics for appreciation, pressure for invitation, criticism for respect, accusations for positive engagement, manipulation for direct requests, and comparisons for individual recognition. Keep in mind that it's always the right time to transform your communication habits. Relationships that have faced challenges for years can start to mend through consistent, mindful adjustments in your communication with your adult children. If you see any of these phrases in your own communication, take action and make adjustments now. Your bond with your children is far too valuable to jeopardize over words that can easily be exchanged. Share your thoughts in the comments on which phrase caught you off guard the most. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more valuable insights to enhance your family connections. Pass this video along to friends who may be facing challenges with their adult children. A small gesture from you could preserve a family bond that's on the brink of breaking.